iPhone 15 Pro Max, Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, which one is the better phone? In today's video, I'm going to compare all of the aspects between these two devices, but because I know it's going to be a big video, I'm keeping my intro short. Drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, let's get started. I want to start this video out by talking about the design. The iPhone 15 Pro Max came out almost 1 year ago, while the Pixel 9 Pro XL came out last month, at the end of the month of August. So, yes, quite surprising that there's almost 1 year separating these two devices. But I'm here, comparing them. It's quite fun that I actually launched a video talking about the iPhone 15 Pro Max versus the Google Pixel 8 Pro. The 8 Pro came out after the 15 Pro Max. And then Google decided in one iPhone cycle to release two Pixels. Quite fun. But again, these are very, very familiar designs. The iPhone 15 Pro Max simply keeps on the design trend of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So the triple camera system on the back, the squared off sides. This is a bit different because now it has the curved edges, which becomes more comfortable to hold, while the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL does have a little bit more different design than the older Google Pixel 8 Pro. Yes, now we have two sizes for the Google Pixel lineup, the 9 Pro and the 9 Pro XL, while before we only had the 8 Pro. But don't be confused, the 8 Pro was the 6.7-inch version, so it was equivalent to the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Now, Google has created the smaller version equivalent to the iPhone 15 Pro. But again, this is the comparison of the two biggest sizes and the two best phones. The iPhone 15 Pro Max does have, like I told you, the curved edges, which make this phone very, very comfortable. But now, this year, Google has changed the design of the Google Pixel 8 Pro into these more close looking like the iPhone 15 Pro Max, feels like the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and yeah, is way more comfortable and way more premium feeling in the hand. But if you hold these two devices in your hands, side by side, you will feel something, the weight difference. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is definitely more heavy than the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Because of titanium. Yes, the 9 Pro XL is made of aluminum and glass, while the iPhone 15 Pro Max is made of titanium and glass. Although titanium is a very, very low density material, it's also very resistant, but it's obviously heavier than aluminum. So at the end of the day, titanium is a bit heavier, but it gives you this different heft, this feeling in the hand that makes your iPhone feel even more premium than it is. This feels like an expensive tool, while the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL feels really good, but it feels lighter, so it feels cheaper. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this design is merely subjective. The Google Pixel 9 Pro XL features the characteristic pixel designs from the Pixel 8. This amazing camera bump on the back looks incredible in my opinion. And one thing, it does not rock on the table, while the iPhone 15 Pro Max does rock a lot. So these designs are different, they have advantages, they have disadvantages. But one thing I need to complain about the Pixel 9 Pro XL when compared to the iPhone is the button placement. Yes, the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL does have a different button placement than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I'm used to having the volume buttons and the lock buttons on different sides of the phone because it's easier when it's in your pocket, it's easier to distinguish between the buttons. One is locking and the other two are volume. But the Pixel has something very, very annoying. I understand that you probably don't really care about it because you are thinking, who cares? I use an Android, I'm used to it. But if you are deciding between two devices, you really need to think about it. And that's having both buttons on the same side. So having the volume button and the lock button on the same side. This is super annoying because it means that in your pocket or when you are holding it, lots of times in the beginning, I was clicking the volume button instead of clicking the lock button and the other way around. So I want to change the volume, I was locking my phone. Oh, I want to unlock my phone, I want to check the time, I was changing the volume of the song. This was so annoying. And trust me, this is not the first time that I have this issue. With the Google Pixel 8 Pro, I talked about that in my review, in the comparison. This is my biggest complaint with these phones. And yeah, I think the S24 Ultra also has them on the same side, and I talked about that in the comparison video. So put the buttons on different sides. It's just plain simple. If you are used to an iPhone and you want to switch to Android, this is one of the biggest issues you will find. Trust me. As for the hardware of these two devices, the iPhone is simply more premium. And all the materials are better. The materials feel premium, materials feel better, they feel heavier, but they are also better performing. Again, titanium is more resistant to scratching, more resistant to damage and to denting than it is aluminum. You are paying the same amount of money. You are paying $1,200 for both devices. So you would expect to get the same materials. When you buy an S24 Ultra, you get titanium and you get glass. But when you buy the Pixel 9 Pro XL, you get aluminum and you get glass. When you buy the iPhone 15 Pro Max, you get titanium and glass. And that's a big difference because these materials are quite different. Titanium is much more premium and harder to work on than aluminum. So I would say that, yeah, the iPhone is simply more premium, it has better hardware, but not just the material is used. No, the ear speaker on the iPhone is much better, much more louder, so you can clearly hear the voice of the other person on the call. While the Pixel, I had so many issues with it. I don't know, I was on the call and I was like, hello, hello? And everyone was talking and the other person was talking and I'm like, I can't hear you. It's too low. Can you speak louder? And the other person was like, I'm almost screaming. And I checked the sound, I checked everything. It was not that. It was the ear speaker that was not loud enough, in my opinion, at least for me. And I have good hearing. So yeah, the iPhone 15 Pro Max definitely was better. I also handed this phone to other persons, like my mom, my father, my brother, to see if it was me, just me. But no, they actually reported the same thing. They did not enjoy the experience of using this phone for phone calls. So this is not just a me mistake, this is at least my family mistake. But yeah, I really think there's a big difference between the hardware on the iPhone and the Google. This feels cheaper, this is not as premium, and yeah, the iPhone for the same amount of money gives you a way better built phone. And after talking about design and hardware, how can I not talk about price and storage options? Yes, both of these devices, they cost the same. But don't be wrong, the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the Google Pixel 9 Pro are quite different. The 15 Pro Max gets better hardware, in my opinion, a better design, but the real difference is on the storage options. You pay $1,200 for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and depending on your country, you will pay at least the same amount of money, $1,200 for the Pixel 9 Pro XL. In my country, they cost the same. Depending on your country, US, Europe, it will change. But if these two devices cost the same, why does the Pixel 9 Pro XL has less storage? This gets you 128 gigabytes of storage, while the iPhone gives you 256. Why? Why Google? Why give us less storage, half the storage, and makes us pay more for double the storage? So at the end, if you want to actually put these phones in the same level, you need to pay $100 or $200 more on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. This annoys me. This makes me mad because even if you had the better phone, which you don't, why would you be charging more than the competition? Why don't you simply adhere to the rest, to the standard? 256 is now the standard, 128 is quite low. And one thing, you don't have the better phone. You have the cheaper feeling phone with less storage for the same amount of money. You're starting to get a trend here. Google is very less focused on the hardware and more focused on the software, which I will talk about later. So yes, these two devices, the iPhone has more storage, is more premium, and in my opinion, I think it has a more comfortable design. But yeah, that's a personal preference after all. As for I/O, well, they both feature USB-C, and that's it. Both feature USB-C. USB-C 3.0 speeds, USB-C 3.0 speeds, the same. The one thing that is different is the way that you can use this as connectivity. If you connect your iPhone via USB-C to a computer, it won't be as easy to transfer files as it is to use your USB-C transfer system on the Android side. So the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL here is quite a bit better. I've had less issues transferring footage from my iPhone to the Pixel than the Pixel to my iPhone, which says a lot. So when I actually set up the Pixel, I use the USB-C cable between these two devices, completely fine. When you want to set up your iPhone from a Pixel, it's also fine, but it won't be as easy. And of course, transferring files from the iPhone to the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL is quite easy via the Files app on Android, which on the iPhone is not that great. But they both have the same USB-C port with the same speed. And talking about the USB-C port, we also can talk about the charging options because you will use this port mainly for charging. You have two options to charge a device on the iPhone, via MagSafe at 15 watts and via USB-C at 27 watts. While you can charge your Google Pixel via wireless charging, and you can also use the USB-C port. The USB-C port I think charges at 30 watts if I'm not wrong, but I will put on the screen here the differences in charging speeds. They are quite the same. I think that the Pixel charges a bit faster and has a way better cool animation when charging. So when you connect this device to the charging cable, it will give you this cool animation saying how many time is left to finish charging, while the iPhone does not give you any information. Oh, and of course, the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL has a very cool feature on the settings app, or at least on the notification bar, when it gives you the time that the battery life will end. So it will give you an estimation how many time of battery do you have left, while the iPhone does not do that. But of course, because battery life depends literally on the use case you are doing, the amount of time will be, well, not a useful information, because when you are watching video, it will be something. Whenever you are making a call, it will be something else completely different. So I understand why Apple does not do it, but it will be pretty cool to see it. So yes, as far as battery life, these two devices do have really good battery life. The iPhone 15 Pro Max has 1.5 days. When it's new, 2-day battery life. And if you are not a power user, trust me, this will be a delight to use. While the Pixel 9 Pro XL, in my experience, in my week and a half of using it, I found out that the battery life is a little bit worse than the iPhone, not that much worse. So I would say that maximum is 1.5 days phone. Normally it's a 1-day phone, which is quite enough because most people charge their phones every day. But keep in mind that on a very, very, very filled day, so you take lots of videos, lots of photos, on a very powerful day, the iPhone will last longer. And yeah, that's a small detail, having a little bit more battery life. It does not have a bigger cell than the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, but I do believe that the A17 Pro chip here is more efficient than the chip found on the Google, which is the Tensor G3, I think, whatever, it's a Tensor chip. And this chip here is less efficient and of course less powerful, so the iPhone has more battery life. But the Pixel charges faster, depends which one do you want. Do you want a faster charging device with less battery, or do you want a better battery life in general? I would pick up the iPhone because, again, I charge my iPhone slowly every night. And I prefer to do that because it actually saves on battery health. The iPhone right now, after 1 year of use, still has 94% of battery health, while the Pixel is still at 100% because it's like 1 week old. But I would like to see how does it impact on the long term. How does it perform after 1 year, 2 years of use in terms of battery health? Right now, I cannot give you that information. All I can say is that the iPhone 15 Pro Max, it's still quite great on that category. 5% or 6% in 1 year of use, it's insanely good. As for the displays, yes, this is a part that most people would like to see. Both of these devices do have OLED displays. Both of these devices can display up to 120 frames per second, and both of those devices can get to 2000 nits peak brightness. Insane displays, really good. It's a matter of preference. The Google Pixel's display is a bit more saturated in my opinion, and it has a different look, while the iPhone, well, it's more true to life and less saturated. So the colors are a little bit less warm and they are different. They have this iPhone look. Apple tunes their devices in very different ways. But the one thing that changes these two displays are actually the True Tone technology. The iPhone uses the True Tone technology to actually get the iPhone warmer or the display less warm, colder, depending on which time of the day and the light. So it will control the white balance. This is the most easiest way to say this. While the Pixel is almost all the same. I don't know if there's a setting on the Pixel. I never found it, but every time that I use it, it's the same. Both of these displays are great. Both of these displays perform really, really well. But at the end of the day, it's personal preference. Even on side to side, you need to decide. You need to really put the same video side by side, and you need to really watch and pick out the details and choose which one is your best. So yeah, let me know below which one do you prefer, the iPhone, the Pixel. I do really think these two displays are really neck and neck, and they are really, really good because outside, when you are taking photos and videos, these devices, well, they can go so bright at 2000 nits that it gets insanely bright and you can see everything outside, no issues. These displays are great, and yeah, you can compare them, but it will be very, very picky. And why? Why waste that time when I can tell definitely 120 Hz, OLED, great colors, they perform almost the same. One thing that does not perform the same on these two devices is the chip. Yes, this has the Tensor chip, this has the A17 Pro. And this also branches out a bit to the display talk, because this is the Tensor chip, this is the A17 Pro, this is much more powerful. So when you are playing games, it will display games that actually require 60 Hz at 60 Hz, or will actually display games that require 120 frames per second at 120 Hz. While the Tensor chip, because it's not powerful enough, it will drop frames. So even if you have 120 Hz display, most of the time you won't be using the 120 Hz display when playing high intensive games. So it's kind of a shame that this Pixel device has this very, very underpowered sensor. Because again, This Tensor chip is so far below the iPhone's A17 Pro and even the Snapdragon chips that I don't see why Google put this very, very underpowered chip on a flagship device. I understand that they are trying to build their own chips. I do. But they are not even close enough to actually put it on a flagship device. Try them out on lower devices like the 8A, the 7A, but don't put it on your main flagship. This is so underpowered. And even if I put any type of benchmark here, you will see that the iPhone completely destroys the Pixel. It's more efficient, more powerful. When playing games, you definitely notice the difference. It gets a bit hot. Yes, the iPhone gets a bit hot, but the Pixel gets even hotter and with less performance. So there's no discussion here. The A17 Pro is much, much better than the Google Pixel's Tensor chip. This is great for AI. And yeah, let's talk about AI. AI is definitely the strong suit of the Google Pixel 9 Pro. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is still waiting for the release of Apple Intelligence on iOS 18, coming out probably next month. While the 9 Pro, well, it has so many AI features, especially on the Google Photos app, that I find them incredible. I really do. In the past week and a half that I've been using this device, I found myself using this so many times. I love it. I do love the translation AI. I do love the email writing AI. I do love Gemini in general. Gemini is great. It's very, very powerful. But I think it's still very limited on the day-to-day tasks. So for that, you still use Google Assistant, which is quite weird. The iPhone is better organized in that because I think Apple Intelligence will be better organized. It will be implemented in Siri, and Siri will be able to use Apple Intelligence and ChatGPT whenever he wants. While the Gemini app assists itself on the Google Assistant app, and that's quite weird because both of the assistants should be the same. Although Gemini is super powerful, especially on the Google Photos app. Magic Editor. You can even take a photo with no one there. So you take your photo, the other person is taking the photo obviously, and then you want to appear again. So you take another photo and the Google app mixes them together and creates this very, very fun effect. MKG showed itself very, very well. And yeah, this is so fun to do. All the AI features here are super powerful. Magic Editor was insane on the 8 Pro. It's now still insane on the 9 Pro. It's ridiculous what you can do with this editing tool. You have so many new effects on the Google Photos app, so many things you can do with your photos using AI. You can create images, you can create emails, it can help you out writing emails, texts. It's so powerful that the iPhone right now cannot touch it. Because again, the iPhone does not have iOS 18 still, and iOS 18 will introduce Apple Intelligence. Whenever it does, well, it will be probably on par with the Google Pixel 9 Pro. But until then, it's very, very far behind. So this will be the oldest iPhone to support Apple Intelligence, while right now, the Pixel 9 Pro does have all of these features, and the 8 Pro also. So in terms of AI, the Pixel definitely comes out on top. One thing I cannot pass in this comparison is the 5G connectivity. This has been a big issue. It's the second main issue that I have with the Google Pixel 9 Pro. The iPhone 15 Pro Max, great. I remember like 2 years ago where the iPhone, I think it was the 13 Pro Max, no, it was the iPhone 14 Pro Max 2 years ago, had terrible connectivity. And everyone is complaining. What did Apple do? They fixed it. Now, on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, I find myself in the same issue. This, whenever I have the iPhone that has 4 bars, for example, this has 2. Whenever I have the iPhone that has 5, this has 4. And in a weaker scenario where the cellular data is actually very low, so the iPhone can only get 1 to 2 bars. I can make calls, still and send messages. This is completely out of reception. So, I don't know what's happening. I went on my vacation on a very, very remote place. It's called Açores. It's on the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Search it up. It's beautiful. I was there. It's a very remote place. And on the mountains, you don't have cellular data. At least you do have with the iPhone. In the middle of the volcano, I had data with the iPhone. But the Pixel 9 Pro XL, out of range. Almost all the time. Only on the hotel, only on the big city that I had cellular data. I don't know what happened, but this is a big issue. I don't know if that's something that Google can fix with a software update, do something. But the 5G connectivity was much, much better and faster on the iPhone. Even 5G was better on the iPhone, simply faster. I don't know what happened. I don't know if that's a me issue. I don't know if that's an issue that only occurred to me. Let me know in the question below. But I've seen lots of people complaining about the 5G connectivity of Google devices, older Google devices, and even the 9 Pro XL. So let me know in the question below what you think about this matter. Have you had the same issue? Let me know there. And now we reach the biggest part of this video. Of course, the camera comparison. I will have a separate video for the camera comparison, obviously, because this video will be like 40 minutes long. But the main thing you gotta take out of this. Both of these devices take amazing photos. Both of these devices take amazing video. The iPhone definitely takes better video than the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Can take log video, can take 4K 60 frames per second video, that simply looks better. The Pixel does a great job stabilizing the video. The Pixel does a great job shooting and enhancing the video afterwards using enhancing boost or boost via Google Photos and the Google servers. But the iPhone simply takes faster video. You can definitely look at it, which is like when you are shooting it, what you are looking is what you will get, and it looks amazing. And of course, super stabilized, the footage looks great. Nighttime video on the iPhone is 10 times better than the Google Pixel 9 Pro. This almost can see in the nighttime, which is ridiculous, while the 9 Pro is still far behind, very, very far behind. And then you have to use Boost on the Google Photos app to enhance the video. It will take lots of time. You have to upload it to the Google Photos app. You have to spend storage, which is expensive. And so, yeah, it's not the best experience taking video on the 9 Pro XL. But photos is different. Photos, the iPhone and the Google Pixel 9 Pro are on the same level. They take amazing photos. They have amazing crisp details. They both have 48 and 50 megapixels equivalent. They do have lots and lots of nighttime capabilities. The iPhone 15 Pro Max can take incredible photos which are more true to life, while the Pixel are more contrasty, more poppy. They have this Pixel look. Whenever reviewers say that the Google Pixel 9 Pro and other Google Pixel devices have a very distinct look to their photos, it's true. They do have it. They do look like a Pixel photo. That's what I can say to you. But both of these devices take incredible photos on the daylight, on the nighttime, using the wide camera, the ultra-wide camera, the telephoto. I do prefer the telephoto on the iPhone, although they are both 120mm equivalent. Both of these devices, they do have a triple camera system, but with different specs. The iPhone does have a 40 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra-wide, and 12 megapixel telephoto, while the Pixel XL does have better specs. The 9 Pro XL has a 50 megapixel main camera, a 50 megapixel or 40 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 40 megapixel telephoto. But at the end of the day, they both take incredible photos, and of course, they are very on par. At the end of the day, the comparison between these two photos are simply a personal preference. I understand that nowadays, the cameras are the main factor in buying a phone, and that's why I'm making a full camera comparison between these two devices. So if you are excited for that, drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video. This was just a quick view, a quick and very short comparison between these two devices. But what I can say to you is the iPhone has a more true to life camera with better video and better stabilization in my opinion. The Pixel, it does have more poppy photos that look better in social media because again, they have this different look. But if you want to edit your photos, edit your own photos, the iPhone is the better way. Of course, the Pixel does have better AI features for editing, better and cooler features with AI on Google Photos than Apple does have on their Photos app. So at the end of the day, it's a personal preference, a personal choice. Choose whatever you want between these two devices in terms of the cameras. And this has been it, my video on both devices. Of course, the iPhone is my choice because I've been using the iOS ecosystem for a while now. But if you do prefer Android, be assured that the Google Pixel 9 Pro is a great option. Between these two devices, the iPhone is more premium, feels heavier, it has, in my opinion, the better camera. But of course, all of this is subjective. Choose whichever device you want, use all of these factors, all the things that I talked about today to help you decide. Thank you guys for watching, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, bye bye.